Life takes us out of balance. Or, as William Shakespeare said, to be or not to be, that is the question. How to maintain balance? That question keeps us busy from the moment we try and learn to walk, till the first time we fall in love, find a job, start a new business. Whenever life takes us out of balance, we might fail and we might fall. But we get on our feet again and move on. That's life. On a macro level, you might say that life continuously takes us out of balance because life is always on the move. And in this era, we learn that the human influence on life on this planet can be quite unbalancing too, with an ecological, an economic, a social impact. And I'm sure you can think of your examples right now. But the thing is that situations of imbalance cannot be sustained in the long term. They can make us feel tense and insecure, and one of the best things that we can do about that is to keep moving. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. And to keep moving, you must make decisions. And decisions are either a conscious or an unconscious attempt to satisfy our needs. And with every decision we make, we have an impact on those around us. And that impact can be positive or negative, or both, depending on the experience you have, the perspective you choose, and the values you live by. And someone who's having an incredibly hard time making decisions is the person who speaks the line I just shared with you. And I must admit that the first time I saw Hamlet performed, which was in London, I hated it. I hated that play because I hated Hamlet's indecisiveness, his cowardice on the one hand, and his recklessness on the other. And I particularly hated his constant yammering and teenage psycho twaddle that just never seemed to stop. So by the time I left the theatre, I decided I was never going to buy any tickets for any Hamlet again. But what I did not realize at the time, though, was that my feeling of discomfort had just brought me to the essential value of Shakespeare's plays. This play had made me wrestle with things I did not want to feel. This play had taken me out of balance, just as life takes me out of balance every now and then. And I would have to find a new way to keep moving. And that quest to retrieve my balance was and is a personal quest. And likewise, the question to be or not to be might mean something different to you than it does to me. And we might come up with totally different answers. Yet the point is that William Shakespeare, Hamlet's playwright, designed a very useful tool to deliberately take you and me out of balance every now and then. And that tool is called allegory. An allegory is a form of imagery in which the metaphor is sustained throughout the piece. And it's built on lifelike patterns like boy meets girl, boy loses girl, but boy wins her back. And it's a technique of symbolic correspondence with parallel plots and underlying myths, and always directed towards the discovery of value. So years later, when I'd already become a wife and a mother of 5 sons, and life perhaps had made me a little bit wiser, I was thinking back of young Prince Hamlet still pushing things to extremes, moving from that indecisive coward on the one hand to the reckless daredevil on the other. And I finally realized that the underlying value is courage. And that over the years, like Hamlet, I had been wiggling the scales, while Hamlet, all the while, had just been holding up a mirror to reflect me and all my imperfections until I would finally pluck up the courage to look in that mirror and see how to make decisions for a better me and a better world. So once we read Shakespeare's allegories as quests for values worthy of pursuit, we can project them on any personal or professional challenge. And looking in the mirror of allegory, we can allocate the characters in the play to the actors in our particular challenge. And we can see how the plot of the play relates to the challenge that we are in. Take, for instance, a logistics company I work with. And they are experiencing rapid growth in a flourishing economy, but they also face the problem of labor shortage. How to find good employees, train them well enough, and keep their company's mojo working at the same time. And then think of Henry V, one of Shakespeare's history plays. It's about a major victory in the 100 Years' War with France. And it's October 1415, the evening before the decisive battle at Agincourt. And the English army has been suffering losses. The soldiers are weary from hunger, illness, and marching, whereas the French, on the other hand, are expecting additional troops to help them really soon. So Henry's knights are worried. They sit together and one of them sighs, "I wish we could get reinforced by all those men that stayed back home in England. Would they were here today." And then King Henry enters, and he says, "What's he that wishes so?" And he delivers this marvelous Crispin speech in which he motivates his men to rely on their own strength and to join forces. And then he plays upon their honor by saying, "From this day on to the ending of the world, we but in it will be remembered. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers." And now back to the company's question. How to keep your mojo working in a time of labor shortage? And with Henry V in hand, this company gained a new perspective on their problem. They realized that the underlying value here is self-reliance, and that they should keep the balance between the two extremes. So do not put it on the other, like Westmoreland, one of those knights, was about to do, because that will lead to stagnation and depression. But don't boast about your success either. Rely on yourself, and you'll find new solutions, smarter solutions. So now let's all step into Shakespeare's laboratory microcosm and project ourselves into a global Midsummer Night's Dream. Midsummer Night's Dream is one of Shakespeare's most popular plays, and it circles around the longest day in the year, the 21st of June, the Midsummer Night, which long ago and still in Shakespeare's days was a time to celebrate the first bliss of new and reunited lovers. And as you all know, lovers usually wear rose-colored glasses. So a play in celebration of such happy bliss promises confusion, disorder, chaos. So this allegory is definitely capable of bringing things out of balance, and perhaps you and me too. Because now I would like you to imagine Athens, the scene of the play's beginning, as our society today, and the Duke of Athens as social power. And this Duke is about to get married to the Queen of the Amazons, who represents military power. And then the forest in which the actual frenzy of this night is about to take place is TEDx. And then think of the four lovers, as you and me, the entrepreneurs in the industry who fall in love with business opportunities and profit. And we will get lost in that forest of ideas worth spreading, which, of course, is the realm of the fairy king and fairy queen, who are responsible and in control of the seasons on Earth and Earth's climate. And if, in our 21st century Midsummer Night's Dream, the Duke, the king of the fairies, represents technology, then his queen would represent nature. And in this dream they are quarreling about the possession of this Indian boy who in our analogy would represent evolution. And in this play we will learn that evolution is not something to quarrel about or to possess. It's something that happens anyway, no matter if nature or technology wins. So what then would be the value of this 21st century Midsummer Night's Dream that is still past the wit of man to say what dream it was? If the dream is about love, then this night takes us to love's extremes, like jealousy, hate, revenge on the one hand, and folly, madness on the other. And up till now we may have wanted to do away with the bad principles, the perverted manifestations of love, as we might call them. But this night demonstrates that we do need jealousy sometimes to arouse ambition and accomplish things. And we do need to get angry and fight for the good cause. And yes, we even need folly. Because while the king and queen of the fairies are still at odds in our 21st century dream, on earth the rivers flood and the harvests fail. As long as they are quarreling, Earth's climate is affected. And in the folly of that dream, we, the entrepreneurs, the industry, may be blind to our own role and our own impact. But as we come out of the forest of ideas worth spreading, this very dream may have given us a new perspective on the marriages of social and military power, of business opportunities and profit. And we have reached the postscript of the dream, with only Puck, Oberon's mischievous servant, on stage. And Puck tells us that order has been momentarily restored, and he apologizes for the behavior of the fairies, saying this has been all but a dream. But what if, at that very point, we question if this really has been all just a dream? What if we then pluck up the courage to look in the mirror of allegory and see in it our own role and our own impact? Then with Shakespeare's allegory of our 21st century Midsummer Night's Dream in hand, we might come to make new decisions for a dynamic balance in a better world. And I'm sure we can, because we have William Shakespeare to remind us that all the world is a stage, and you and I are merely players. Thank you.